There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from their cloth. There's no one that can match me.
My name is Nassim the Dream. I'm a 15-year-old amateur boxer, giving my views and opinions on everything boxing related. I'm here to give you guys consistent, reliable, unbiased commentary. Boxing is my passion, slaying trolls is my hobby. Hope you enjoy. Like, comment, and subscribe. According to ESPN.com, Canelo Alvarez has officially agreed to fight Dmitry Bivol and Gennady Golovkin in a 2-fight deal offered by DAZN for $85 million. What do I think about this? I think that Canelo Alvarez should have taken the $100 million offered by PBC, Al Heyman, to fight David Benavidez and Jermall Charlo. Those are fights I think that will sell more, and these are fights that people want to see more. Dmitry Bivol is a dangerous fight for Canelo Alvarez. There's no doubt about that. I think he has a high chance of beating Canelo Alvarez, but so does Jermall Charlo and David Benavidez, and they're viewed as very dangerous fights. Gennady Golovkin, at this point in his career, is not. Gennady Golovkin looked pretty much horrible against Derevchenko. He was getting battered around the ring. He looked extremely old in that fight. He was getting hurt to the body and to the head multiple times. He was getting consistently outworked, and that showed that his hand speed has gone down. He doesn't look like the same athletic fighter that he used to be against Canelo Alvarez in the first fights against Canelo Alvarez in the second fight. In those fights, he's able to give Canelo Alvarez a lot of problems with his athleticism, his boxing ability, his jab, his aggression in the ring, and not willing to give Canelo Alvarez space in the ring. But it seems like he's lost some of those tendencies in the ring. And even against Kamil Cesarmeta, in that fight, he still looked lethargic and still looked slow. And it took him a minute to knock out Kamil Cesarmeta, a fighter who was clearly overmatched. It was getting knocked down pretty much every round in that fight. Okay, and you know, to me, I just don't think that Gennady Golovkin has it anymore. I think that he's a good fighter, but a fighter who just fought a lot of bums and is one of the most overhyped fighters of all time, and the way they overhype him is absolutely ridiculous. Him against Canelo Alvarez, I think, is going to sell, but I think that Canelo Alvarez is going to brutally stop him in 7 to 8 rounds. Gennady Golovkin, I think that he's going to get dominated every round in that fight. I think that Canelo Alvarez is going to catch him in the 7th or 8th round and then brutally knock him out, okay? Dmitry Bivol fight is a more competitive fight. From what I've seen, Dmitry Bivol, like I said in my last videos, is a very, very skilled boxer. He's very technically skilled. He has a very good jab. He dictates the pace very well, and he doesn't get hit a lot, okay? How will he deal with Canelo Alvarez's counter-punching ability, his aggression, his power in the ring? I think he's going to deal with it well, but I think he has to watch out for making mistakes in the ring because, like I said, Canelo Alvarez is a very good counterpunch. He has very good timing, and he's always stalking and countering you, and he has very good head movement. I think that Dmitry Bivol is going to have to push the pace without exposing himself to Canelo Alvarez's mistakes in the ring. And he has to be very critical at that because the judges, they favor Canelo Alvarez for the most ridiculous reasons possible. Even Floyd Mayweather, the biggest star in boxing, was affected by this when they gave him a majority decision instead of giving him a unanimous decision, even though he completely dominated Canelo Alvarez every round of that fight, okay? I think this is going to be a good fight, though, but I would much prefer to see Jermall Charlo fight and David Benavidez fight. I think the fans would, too. Canelo Alvarez has been ducking Jermall Charlo for 6 years now. When Jermall Charlo was at 154, he didn't want to fight him. When Jermall Charlo was at 160, he wanted to fight him, even though he was mandatory. And he requested the franchise title in order to duck Jermall Charlo. When he came to 168, to unify the belts, right? Instead of fighting David Benavidez, the boogeyman in that division, he chose to fight the rest of the paper champions and even fight for the WBC belt. It was just added to the Callum Smith fight. Against all those champions, exception of Cal Plant, who really put up a fight. Callum Smith, who was 6'3", basically just gave up after the first 3 rounds against Canelo Alvarez, okay? Then you had Billy Joe Saunders, who came with no game plan in this fight. Then you had Avni Yildirim, another bum who had 2 losses, was coming off a 2-year layoff, okay? And he got knocked out in 3 rounds by Canelo Alvarez, and is clearly looking for a paycheck. So, like I said, I think that the Jermall Charlo fight and the David Benavidez fight are more appealing. I would definitely love to see those fights. We know that Canelo Alvarez, he only likes to take a dangerous fight here and there. He doesn't want to fight 2 dangerous fighters. He'd rather fight just 1 dangerous fighter and a clearly old and washed up Gennady Golovkin. This is why he's taking the time to wait for Gennady Golovkin to get old before fighting him. I'd definitely like to see this Dmitry Bivol fight, though. Like I said, it's going to be a very, very good fight. I think that Dmitry Bivol could win if he dictates the pace well, uses his jab, because jab is something that Canelo Alvarez struggles and fights with, as shown in the Caleb Plant fight and the Lara fight, the Mayweather fight, the Trout fight, and many of his fights. He's shown that he struggles with a strong jab in the ring. That's what Dmitry Bivol has to do. He has to push the pace, use his jab, go down to the body and to the head, switch his attacks up, not get too predictable, and use his skills to outbox Canelo Alvarez. However, like I said, I think even if he outboxes Canelo Alvarez, he is going to get rewarded with a controversial decision. So I'm picking Canelo Alvarez to win, most likely either by a controversial decision or a draw. Okay, like I said, I really wanted to see the Jermall Charlo fight, David Benavidez fight, but it clearly shows that Canelo Alvarez, he's just not really willing to fight the best opposition in boxing. But this is my take on it though. But to wrap this up, this is Not Seeing the Dream. Rocky's head, Snake stays asleep. I'll holler y'all another one. Peace.
I mean, I think it's an easy question. I think everybody wants to see me against Canelo, right?